Hear ye, hear ye! American Players Theater and Spring Green won the 2026 Regional Tony Award. APT is a theater located in the woods about 20 miles from Madison with a 1,075-seat outdoor hill theater and a 200-seat indoor touchstone theater. The summer season is now playing through October 4th with 8 plays in a rotating repertory. This week, you can use code CITY20 for 20% off any performance in the Outdoor Hill Theater. Tickets and information at AmericanPlayers.org or by calling 608-588-2361. Need a new car? The Society of St. Vincent de Paul is hosting a car raffle fundraiser to raise money for their Madison food pantry, pharmacy, micro-lending program, and other services that help local families. That's right, you can buy tickets now for a chance to win one of 5 brand new vehicles. They've got 2026 Hondas, Nissans, and 1 Mazda. Tickets are $100 each and only 5,000 will be sold. Find more details on the cars and buy tickets at svdpmadison.org/raffle. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, it's the Friday News Roundup, and the city is looking to tighten its belt. More on the issue of trust in Madison's election processes, and MMSD will offer free meals to students this summer. Plus, for our Neighbors Only segment, 2 Wisconsin women made the top 3 wealthiest self-made women in America. How do we feel about that? Joining me now to talk about it all is our executive producer, Haley Sperling. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Bianca. I am sad to say I am not one of those 2 wealthiest women, but happy to be here nonetheless.
Not today, but who knows? We're keeping an eye on that. And welcoming in our special guest, creator and host of the Black Oxygen podcast and founder of the Undercurrent Consulting Agency, Angela Russell. Angela, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Bianca and Haley. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is ideal. This is very fun. And before we dive into the show, Angela, we want folks listening in the audience to know a bit more about who you are. You contain multitudes. You're awesome. You are currently shimmying, which people cannot see. You've got the energy. You've got the expertise. Tell us about who you are.
I am still trying to figure out who I am at this ripe age of 48. But this sounds super cliche. I came here to Madison in 99 for grad school and never left. One of my favorite things about moving to Madison, I lived initially in Eagle Heights, which is super dope, around some incredible folks. And I have worked in many different sectors since I've been in Madison for such a long time. So I've been in academia, I've been in government, state and local, I've been in corporate, and I've been in philanthropy. And I just started my new organization called The Undercurrent. I also created and host the Black Oxygen podcast in partnership with Madison 365. And I have 2 teenagers that keep me very, very honest. They are very funny. They think they're the funniest in the house, but I have to remind them that they got their sense of humor from me because I'm hilarious. They don't think so. They don't know that, but I am.
Got it from my mama. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes. You are so fantastic, and your brain is just a gift to Madison. So very excited to be introducing you to our Friday News Roundup. You're brilliant. And I do, before we track on, want to know, what do you love about Madison?
There's so much I love. And I don't know if I'm supposed to quote Toni Braxton or Shakespeare, but let me count the ways. See what I mean? I'm hilarious.
They're both poets. They're wordsmiths.
They
have
both
rhythm.
One of the things that I love about Madison is that I feel like it fits my brain. And what I mean is that my brain is fully ADHD, and there are so many things to do and to tap into in Madison. And yesterday was a perfect example of a great Madison day for me. So I started off the day with my friends at a new coffee shop on the west side of Madison, Quamaria, and it's a new Yemeni coffee place that is fantastic. And after that, after I was properly caffeinated, I attended the launch of the Wisconsin Quantum Alliance. Who knew that we had scientists doing quantum computing, quantum sensing, and being industry leaders in the world of quantum? So I attended that launch, which was great. I actually had to study in order to attend this because I didn't know what a qubit was or entanglement beyond Jada Pinkett Smith. It's actually a physics thing. And then I ended the day recording a Black Oxygen episode with Paul Higginbotham. He's a retired appeals court judge who is the chair of the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra, and he's also on the board of the League of America's Orchestras. And just to be talking and in conversation with another Black person in Madison who loves classical music was just super cool. So I'm surprised by Madison regularly just about how much there's to tap into and how you can continually learn throughout the course of your life here.
That is such a Madison day. And also one of my favorite things about Madison is our physicists at UW-Madison, doing the work that sets the scene. Well, let's get into the Friday News Roundup because, Haley, you're kicking us off with some news from the city on budgets and talk about experts. People are looking at our city budget and saying, we need some changes.
Oh, yeah. It is the start of budget season here in Madison. And things are going about as good as you'd expect them to be, which is to say not so good. The city is really looking to tighten its budgetary belt. Earlier this week, multiple news outlets reported that the mayor sent out a memo to city agencies telling them to prepare for 2% cuts across the board. To be clear, this is not set in stone. Nothing has been determined, but this is what the mayor has passed down and said, hey, we got to get into the weeds and see what's going on here. And, this is only kind of a sarcastic question, but is anyone really surprised that these cuts are on the horizon?
Not necessarily surprised, but we try and stay on top of the budget. And I'm like, wasn't it back in 2024, not that long ago, that we voted to raise taxes by 22 million to avoid cuts? But yeah, I know this is kind of an ongoing picture here.
Yeah, it's an ever-pressing issue and the kind of constant question, the eternal thing. And the big question now is how did we get here, right? Well, it's a multitude of factors, but unfortunately, it's a lot of factors that are outside of our city's control. The mayor says that inflation and higher operating costs have added millions of dollars to the city's expenses. And one of those biggest culprits is something that all of us here can relate to: the rising cost of gas and fuel. It has literally added roughly $3 million to the city's spending this year. According to the Wisconsin State Journal, the city will spend roughly $3 million more on fuel in 2026 than previously budgeted, which is a huge blow for us, but also something that's totally out of the city's control. And like you mentioned, Bianca, we just had this property tax referendum, and the mayor is trying to avoid another tax referendum. But for true, real lasting long-term change, we need reforms to come from the state level, to be quite honest. In terms of what the state can do, the mayor has suggested that the shared revenue formula be readjusted to give municipalities more of a return from their locally generated sales tax and income taxes. Personally, I'm not holding my breath for that one because we know how the state operates. But with the governorship up for debate, with a lot of changeover happening in the legislature, who knows? Things could be happening. And we do have that lobbyist working for us in the city and in the state. And on top of those 2% cuts, the mayor also told agencies not to request any new positions. So this isn't an all-out hiring freeze, and it's still too early to tell what cuts will be made. But as we know, Madison is a growing city, and to see that our budget is shrinking, city agencies are being asked to do more with less, I'm concerned, right? Like, I'm worried about one, the well-being of those city employees, and two, the impact on the residents who use city services, which is literally all of us. And again, I feel like we've had this conversation before. It seems to me that the city is constantly stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to budgeting. And I'm just like lost. Like, where are the solutions? Like, is it private investments? Is it nonprofits? Like, how do we stop from sliding backwards? This is like the eternal question. And I'm just going to put it on you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it is striking me that we are in an election year, right? And there are tons of contested seats in the state legislature. And obviously, the efforts to change our legislative maps and have a less gerrymandered state might impact outcomes around bringing people into the state legislature that have a different appetite for allowing for a different shared revenue equation that can help Madison out. But yeah, it is a perennial question, and it does seem like something's got to give.
I mean, what was popping up for me was that question about nonprofits.
Mhm.
And nonprofits are strapped too, because the changing landscape of our country, a lot of nonprofits have been struggling to have the kind of financial resources to meet the needs of their clients as well. So I don't necessarily think nonprofits are the answer because, having to raise funds in this kind of climate is really, really, really tough.
Yeah, it's like everyone is stuck. Everyone is stuck. There's not enough money, but there's too much money because there's inflation. And it's like, what do we do here? But I think what's really critical for us is for Madison residents to ask questions and really be informed about the budget process, like know what we're getting into here. The city has actually been hosting some budget engagement sessions this month. There's already been one on justice and public safety. There's another on public facilities and services. And then on June 24th, they'll be hosting their last session on planning and transportation. So they're kind of breaking things down by the main segments of the budget. And we will throw a link in our show notes so people can learn more about those sessions and check them out. Stay informed.
Haley, thank you so much for that segment. That was really great. And we are turning to building trust in our election systems here in Madison. There's some changes or news there. Before we dive into that, let's take a quick break. All right, it's time for our weekly segment, Banking Outside the Box with Oak Bank, with the sponsor of this episode, Oak Bank. It's your opportunity to get your banking and financial questions answered by an expert.
This is Stephanie East, Treasury Management Officer at Oak Bank. And this week's question is, what's a common financial challenge small businesses face and how can it be solved? One common challenge we see with small businesses is managing cash flow, specifically timing. You might have money coming in, but if it doesn't line up with when bills are due, it can create stress pretty quickly. The good news is there are practical ways to solve that. At a community bank like Oak Bank, we work closely with business owners to put tools in place that help them stay in control. That can include things like online cash flow monitoring, automated payments, and remote deposit capture. Remote deposit capture is a great example of a simple tool that can make a big difference. It allows a business to deposit checks electronically right from their office using a secure scanner or a mobile device instead of having to drive to the bank. So instead of checks sitting on a desk waiting to be deposited, you can scan them and submit them the same day. That speeds up access to your funds and helps improve cash flow. It also saves time for business owners and their staff, which is always valuable. From a security standpoint, it reduces the risk of lost or stolen checks, and there are built-in safeguards to help prevent duplicate deposits. But just as important as the tools is the relationship. When we understand your business, we can help you plan ahead and avoid surprises. It's really about giving you more visibility, more control, and ultimately more confidence in your day-to-day operations. At the end of the day, it's about convenience and control, giving business owners one less thing to worry about so they can stay focused on running their business. If you'd like to learn more, reach out to us at oak.bank and put Oak Bank to work for you.
Huge thanks to Oak Bank for sponsoring this segment. If you've got a banking or financial question, hit the link in the show notes. You might even hear it answered in an upcoming episode. And we are back. Angela, you are bringing our next story.
So, what I'm going to talk about today on CityCast Madison is I want to chat about trust and institutions. We recently learned about more mistakes that happened in our local elections process that almost led to 23 ballots not getting counted in the spring election. Have y'all been keeping up with that story?
Yes, unfortunately.
It has been so much back and forth on this one. I think as far as I can remember, these ballots were late in arriving to their polling places. Then the Wisconsin Election Commission said, don't count the ballots. Like, we're very clear, if they're not there on time, you can't have them. But then a Dane County judge reversed that and said, count the ballots. And ultimately, like, whether they were counted or not wouldn't have changed the outcome of any race or referendum. But there was this lawsuit that was brought forward because people are worried about being disenfranchised and their right to vote is being threatened. And especially having this issue on the heels of a very similar issue happening in our previous election. Like, it's I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the trust that we're building or eroding here, which you're going to get into, Angela, I know.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to frame our discussion from the macro level down to what's going on right here in Madison. That work?
Absolutely.
All right.
Take us
Awesome.
there, Quantum Queen.
Yeah, Quantum Queen. So the Edelman Group, which is a comms and PR firm based in Chicago, has been doing research and analyses about trust internationally and domestically since 2000. So for 26 years now. Their trust index is the average percent trust in business, government, media, and NGOs. And it's measured by asking folks, how much do you trust that each of these institutions, business, government, media, and non-governmental organizations, will do what's right? This year, in January 2026 is when they published their most recent data. Globally, trust was at 57%, meaning on average, 57% of folks around the world think that institutions will do what's right. However, the picture in the United States is a little bit different. Here in the United States, only 47% of folks think that institutions will do what's right. And that was based on the Edelman report that was published in January. Who knows what that data would look like right now? To me, that tells us that we have a big problem regarding trust in our institutions here in the United States right now. And this no doubt has a lot of implications on any type of progress that we want to do moving forward. I'm kind of curious, what are y'all's thoughts on the Edelman research on trust?
I'm not surprised hearing that. I honestly am like, oh, 47%, better than I thought.
I
didn't
really?
Even,
Well, yes. Yeah.
Because, I mean, working in journalism, Haley, I know you could speak to this as well. The media has been cast as, the villain in a lot of ways, and government is the villain. And then there are a lot of reasons for people to have broken trust in the media. Like, look what happened, people thinking that they will be getting fair and accurate information and thinking one candidate is going to win the presidential election and totally shocked by the outcome. And then you look at having a president who is indicted repeatedly, who is now a felon, like, who is leading our country, and these for just constant barrage of, I think politicians not speaking truthfully, that hasn't been invented in the past 20 years. That's always been a thing. But now I think with the way our media landscape is set up, we're all seeing these almost individualized feeds and feeding us kind of like hate for the other side. Like, we're so far from feeling like United States right now. And I think that tension is just so deep. And we're like looking at our local leaders like, I hope you are doing what you need to do for our budget. I hope that you are thinking about all of us in an equitable way. But there is a lot of failures that are happening.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that take, Bianca. Like, I'm not surprised at all. Like, I think especially again after 2016, we have built ourselves into these echo chambers and people have gotten really, really comfortable there. And that's that's not good. That's really not good. But it's also like being a member of the media, being a journalist. I'm not ever trying to like get on a high horse and being like, why don't you trust me? Like, I understand that like we, the media, journalists, like we have given folks reason time and time and time again not to trust us, which is like why, you know, we all take what we do very seriously here, and like why it's so important to like find those quote unquote trustworthy, reputable sources. But now it's like, yeah, even when you can't trust your government to get things done, it's so hard to just exist in this space. It's like, who do you trust?
I mean, in both of you, Haley and Bianca, you referred to the echo chamber in some sense or fashion. One of the things that the Edelman report also did for this year, hasn't done this in the past, is they report on insularity. And that is a measure of how reluctant are you to trust someone different than you? And it is damning for the United States. 70% insular mindset. And talk about echo chamber. That is wild to me. But let's go a little bit more local. I want to dig a little bit deeper in terms of what's going on locally. We know how actions at the local level can impact trust. So elections, which are a foundational component of our democracy, are so important, and it's imperative that we can trust our election officials. And Haley, as we discussed earlier, just recently, news broke out about one of our election officials right here in Madison. So according to VoteBeat, Jim Verbick, the city of Madison's election office's former second in command, admitted to losing track of 23 absentee ballots in the Wisconsin Supreme Court election in April. Because he lost track of the ballots didn't arrive until after 8 p.m. I mean, those ballots were eventually counted, but oh my gosh, like that causes, I think, a little distrust. Verbick was also previously scrutinized and sued for the clerk's office losing nearly 200 ballots in the 2024 election. He was recently assigned to within the clerk's office to a non-election task. But y'all, this is huge, right? Voting is so fundamental and something that I find personally deeply sacred, especially because so many people fought for the right for folks like me, a Black woman, to be able to vote. So when I vote, I want my vote to be counted, and I want my vote to matter. But this whole thing of absentee ballots being lost is concerning, especially given the election landscape across the country. And it's an example of what it means for trust to be eroded at the local level. So I'm wondering for you, Haley and Bianca, do you think that our local election officials here in Madison need to do some trust repair work? And if so, what do you think that would look like?
I do, and I think that they have been engaged in it, right? I mean, they have been holding press conferences and bringing people into the new mail ballot center. Basically, Haley, you went to that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can talk more about it than I can.
I mean, yeah, I think because, I mean, as you mentioned, we did have this issue in 2024 already where there were so many ballots that went uncounted. And that was a huge shock. And that resulted in, you know, our clerk losing her job. And now we've brought in someone new. And this same mistake is still happening. Obviously, I think it's hard in this situation because, you know, I read the VoteBeat article and it really does just seem like a genuine human error. Like this person is running around on election day. They're super busy and like these things just get lost. And like, I can relate to that, unfortunately, but also you don't want that when it's such a high stakes situation, such as an election. But it doesn't make me comfortable to be an absentee voter, I guess, is what I would say. Like, I like to go in person. I like to see my stuff getting counted. But yeah, the city has really been making a big push to say, like, your votes are safe. We have you counted. We've got this whole big thing. We're, you know, going on a big, press tour about our new elections facilities and whatnot. And they seem to really be putting in the work. So I think this also, it might just be a testament to the budget story, right? Like we are stretching people very thin and maybe we're just not well enough resourced despite the best efforts.
That's right. I agree with you. And voting in person, honestly, is such a vibe. But Haley and Bianca, to your point about the city is doing some stuff, I think one of the things that happens is, yes, city can be doing activities to repair that trust, but who knows about the city doing these activities? How do you know that these activities are going on? And who's attending those? Who has time to attend those? Are they people who are retired, who are already civically engaged already, versus people who are on the margins of that civic engagement? So that's a continuous question that I would have in terms of trust repair.
To your point, Angela, I really do think like they've been in process, and I think that there's more process to go. And I love that you're bringing us to kind of think about that and how we need to repair as a community.
Yes.
We are going to keep moving in this Friday News Roundup. We are turning to some good works from the Madison School District. Before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break. All right, y'all. The Madison Metropolitan School District will offer free meals for students ages 18 and under this summer. This is a continuation of their summer food service program where they provide breakfasts and lunches for students at district school sites and community locations across Madison. My heart is really happy just reading that news. The program kicks off June 22nd and will be available Monday through Friday. There's no application or registration required for students, but they do need to eat the meal on site. So that's like one of the particulars there. And yeah, there are over a dozen school sites participating in this program and even more community locations. I love to hear this. It feels good in all the right places, y'all.
Yeah, we need a little good news. I like this. And I like that they're not asking questions. They say, come get your plate, come have some food, like just enjoy. And that's what we need here, right? I love this story.
I love this story too, and there's a nuance of it that I really, really appreciate. I really like that the meal should be eaten at the meal site because we know that loneliness is increasing. Loneliness among children is high. So making sure that there is opportunity for connection during a meal, I think in addition to providing the meal is just so important. Kudos to MMSD.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's totally a layer. Community. And we're always talking about how the pandemic impacted all of us socially. Having this space, like, let's get back together. Let's stay together. Let's have our kids together. Not feeling groovy. Think it's so groovy now that we are finally getting together. But you know what? I do want to point out the fact that, Angela, you've spent many years as a public health expert. You worked for the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families. You're an epidemiologist for the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. This is a public health intervention in many ways.
It really, really is. Making sure that you have access to high quality, healthy food is honestly, I'm going to go a little bit nerdy right here, but it's a key social determinant of health. So it is critical. And it not only is critical in terms of ensuring that you have access to healthy foods now, it's critical for setting up habits for healthy eating in the future. So it's providing food now and creating, the habits that we want all to be living by in the future. So again, this is really awesome.
Habit making for sure. I've shared this on the show before, but I grew up with free lunch and free breakfast, and it really is that deep. Like, it really is very consequential. And, they're to the point, it's summer and a lot of kids come to depend on those two meals that they have for their nutrients. And I know as an adult being hangry, I'm not making the best choices. I'm not good to be around. And kids, their brains are still developing. So good on you, MMSD. And there's some more good news as it relates to the kids of Madison. Something that's also pretty awesome to see is the city of Madison and Metro Transit is partnering with Madison schools to offer a free summer bus pass program to Madison students. I'm pulling this from the city's press release that every young person living in Madison entering 6th grade through graduating high school students is eligible for a free pass. So these are virtual passes, but it looks like you can email mymetrobus@cityofmadison.com to get a physical card. I love that the city is doing this. On the city's website, the Madison mayor was quoted saying that last year they had more than 2,700 students sign up for the passes. and collectively they took 82,000 rides. Talk about green energy. Talk about community. Wheels on the bus.
The wheels, yes, the
Yes.
wheels on the bus go around. I love to see everyone on the bus.
And this is another example of great public health practice. Access to quality transportation is also connected to the social determinants of health. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and kids can get to, their summer jobs or their camp or whatever they need to do. Like, if that was a barrier for kids, that's being taken away. I'd love to see the city and the school district looking out for families. And I also just feel like knowing how to ride a city bus is a skill. If you want your kids to be skilled and if you want them to be a part of this program or the summer program, that is possible. Spread the word about these free resources for folks who need it. And if that is you, we'll link to both details on the summer meals and where to request a free bus pass in our show notes. But we're going to keep on rolling because we have member shout outs to talk about this Friday. Haley, who wrote us?
Yes, we've got a shout out from Olivia B. She says, quote, I'm a longtime member and I'd love to share a shout out for the free fitness community I've been a part of since 2016. November Project Madison hosts free outdoor circuit workouts that combine bodyweight exercises with walking or running. We meet on Wednesdays and Fridays at 6:28 a.m. on campus in downtown all year round. Rain, shine, or blizzard, come for the workout, stay for the good vibes, sunrises, and connections. I love this. Have you guys ever done a November Project? They do these like all over the country.
I have never done a November Project Madison. I love November because I'm a Scorpio, so I love the name. But I mean, talk about public health and community.
Yes,
That's like
yes.
right in the intersection of those.
I've never even heard of the November Project, so I'm going to have to Google it. I may pass on the 6:28 a.m. thing, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if it was 6:31, maybe, but 6:28,
It's just too much. It's too much. Yeah, look at this. This is a great shout out, all about public health and community.
Yes.
We know there are some early birds out there. This is exactly why we have the shout outs is like, let us know about things we're not talking about that we don't know. Thank you so much, Olivia. And we have a thank you to go to our newest neighbor. We saw your name come in, Douglas A. Thank you. Welcome to the squad. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting CityCast Madison. We literally could not do this without you. Thank you to all of our neighbors. And hey, if you want to become a neighbor and get a shout out on this podcast and share your own, head to membership.citycast.fm/Madison. Sign up, become a neighbor, and you'll also get the great perks that come with being a neighbor, like ad-free listening, member-exclusive events. We're planning one right now. Exclusive emails. You'll hear our Neighbors Only segment on this podcast, which today is coming up, and we're talking about Wisconsin billionaires. 2 women, y'all, are at the top of the list. Again, if you want to hear that Neighbors Only segment and get those other perks, become a member today. Head to membership.citycast.fm/Madison. All right. That was our Friday news roundup. Thanks for rounding up the news with me this week, Angela Russell. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
And Haley Sperling. See you later.
Thanks, Bianca.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. We're produced by Jade Isiri Ramos with help this week from Katie McMurrin and Alyssa Castles. Haley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music by Wendy Marchini and Sarah the Instrumentalist from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Madison newsletter. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Madison. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who you would ride the bus with? Riding the bus is beautiful. All right, see you back here Monday morning with more news from around the city. Until then, thanks for listening and have a great weekend.